Good morning, Cincinnati, and welcome in to another episode of the Bearcat Brunch, coming to you live from the Cincy Light Studios and brought to you, as always, by our wonderful partners at Royal Links Golf Tours. Have you always wanted to play golf at St. Andrews? Have you ever enjoyed a perfect pint of Guinness in Ireland? Well, now you can, thanks to Royal Links Golf Tours. They are the premier golf tour specialist, offering unforgettable golf experiences in Scotland, England, Ireland, and Wales. Their custom itineraries are more than golf trips. They are immersive cultural and country experiences that will surprise and delight you both on and off the course. Royal Links Golf Tours is owned by former Bearcat quarterback Hayden Moore and his partner, UC alum Jeff Bartholomew. If you'd like to play St. Andrews or have that perfect pint, please visit their website at royallinksgolftours.com or call them direct at 770-331-1525. And with that, we are back on a sunny Sunday morning, but unfortunately to discuss a second Bearcats loss in a row as they lose at home to Arizona 30-24. I saw this was the first Bearcats loss at home while being ranked to an unranked team since 2011. And unfortunately, while the game was closer, we saw a lot of similarities to the previous game against Utah, especially from the offense, trying to deal with a man coverage style defense, and it just wasn't nearly as successful. And so we are here to break that down. Good morning, Jeff. How are you? And as always, the first word is yours.
I don't know. I mean,
we're at the I don't know phase.
yeah. I mean, we've been here before. They just didn't play well on offense, we'll say. I mean, I guess defense is kind of mediocre. They were on the field forever, and as bad as the coverage was, it just kind of continued to break down. Sorsby's got to be better. He knows that. I mean, he said afterwards on the thing, like, wanting to get the ball more to Royer. Well, I mean, is that on you? Is that on whatever the play calls are? Is that on him to get open? Is that like, what is that? You just kind of put your hands. I think this was as bad as it was, as bad as they played. Like, they did have a chance at the end to go down and win the game. You're down 6, you have the ball back, and you go backwards on 4 plays, and that's it. So it just kind of one of those ones you like shrug it off. It like, does this like torpedo the season and ruin all of the positives from earlier on? No, like, at least not in my eyes. Do you wish that it could have been better? Yeah. Do they need to just, you can't dwell on it and then go into BYU and get, crushed by 30
like TCU did, right?
So like you can't like, you lost Arizona, whatever. Like, there are things that need to be improved drastically, as far as like the way that you have handled it. But you can't hang on to it, onto you can be like, oh, what if we did this? What if we did that? Like, it's a loss, sucks. You're 7-3, 9-3 to end the season. Sounds a heck of a lot better than 7-5. So you better figure it out.
Yeah. And I hate doing just like box score analysis, but it's so stark in this game that, whether it was you and I, whether it's Chad and myself, whether it's the guys on Monday night, we talked about this final stretch of your best players have to play like your best players. And they didn't against Utah, and they didn't again yesterday. And, I'm not putting it all on the feet of Sorsby, but
No.
when you just compare the quarterback play, and Noah Fafita goes 23 for 31 for 294 and a touchdown, and Sorsby goes 15 for 28 for 154, a touchdown, and 2 really bad interceptions, and you lose by 6. In the third quarter, you're winning the game with 2 turnovers, minus time of possession by over 10 minutes, minus total scrimmage plays by roughly 20. You're 1 for 5 on third down at that stage, and you're winning the game. And I really, without being able to sit there and really truly watch film from a all 22 view or just have the time to really go back and look at it all, I can't sit here and exactly tell you what the issue is against man coverage. The problem to me is that it looked a lot like it looked against Utah. So what exactly was happening during the off week? So there's obviously some concern there. And, I just don't think he looks comfortable at all against man. A lot of his throws seem to be predetermined. Like we're locking in on guys, and I won't say like you're not giving it enough time to develop, because I know that there's instances where maybe a guy, we see him on TV breaking open, but where's the pressure at? And there's a lot that goes into that. So I try to stay away from that. But at the same time, if you know that your quarterback is having some struggles against certain things, and you saw it happen 2 weeks ago, and then we turn around and we see it happen again, I have a lot of questions on like, just what are we doing to scheme guys open? What are the route concepts? What are the man beaters that you're working on to get guys open? The Joe Royer thing to me is baffling. He's bracketed. Okay, so he's the only player in football that's ever been double covered, and we just can't get him open. And I know for a fact, watching the game live and then seeing some things afterwards, it wasn't like it was every play.
Yeah.
So that feels, I don't know the word to describe it, but so we're just, I'm not going to, obviously we're talking about two very, very different things, but like Jamar Chase probably gets bracketed a lot too. They still figure out a way to get him the ball. Justin Jefferson, players in college. I bet Jeremiah Smith gets bracketed a bunch, and then Carnell Tate is able to get open. Like, okay, so he's bracketed a bunch. That just means that we can't get the ball to anybody else? It feels like the offense, at least in these last 2 games against man, has been extremely
overwhelmed.
Boomer bust, essentially. Like, we're going to try to go down the field or sideways. We've seen more of the sideways stuff the last, at least yesterday. And, they started to have a little bit of success in the fourth quarter on, or throughout the game, on a Jeff Caldwell 12-yard stop route, or Cyrus Allen on that fourth down play in the middle of the field. Like, but for the majority of the game, it was just very much we either run the ball, we throw short, or we throw long. There's no, Arizona did so much stuff they had a lot of plays in the 15-yard range.
That intermediate distance. But
they also did a ton of stuff from like 4 to 10 yards. And I felt like that was nowhere to be found in the offense yesterday. So, there's 2 main things that really frustrated me from yesterday. One, we just talked about. You have an extra week to figure out man beaters, and it feels like you just didn't figure it out.
Like you didn't do it?
And the other part was, and this is why I think they lost the game. It's not necessarily like the coaching staff, a Sorsby issue. From 5 minutes to go in the first quarter to halftime, the defense played very well. They gave them 3 straight drives. Now, not with exceptional field position. I think they were all somewhere in the range of the 22-yard line to the 30-yard line. So it wasn't as if they had amazing field position, but they gave them 3 straight drives where they forced Arizona to give the ball back up, whether it was because of a missed field goal, whether it was because of a punt. I don't remember the exact order of everything, and then you just do nothing with it. Absolutely nothing. And, there's one drive where it's 2nd and 4. You've ran the ball 88 times for 140 yards. 2nd and 4. And they ended up actually not even giving up points on this drive. I think it ended in a missed field goal. But you go first down, 6-yard run, incomplete, bad punt, 2 15-yard penalties, and then you end up surviving it, and you just can't do anything. And Arizona made some nice adjustments, I think, against the run, and I didn't feel like we countered that at all. You saw, like, I would have liked to see more outside stuff. We set guys in motion a million times, never handed them the ball, never ran the pop pass. So the main frustration to me is not capitalizing on that second quarter.
Yeah. I mean, I'd also, well, we would be remiss, I guess, if we didn't also point out, I mean, there were several times where Sorsby did make very good throws into tight windows, and the receivers just didn't come up with, I mean, sure, they're contested a little bit, but
gotta make plays.
You got to make the plays. And that kind of goes back to, like, okay, so if you say the stars have to play well, that's true, but everybody else has to step up too if the stars are not all the way, or if your stars are bracketed and you can't get them the ball, then somebody else needs to step up, and you've got to make those catches. You can't just drop these deep balls. I did not agree with he put the pass there. I think it was one of the, I don't know if they went 3 and out on this possession. I have to look it up. You get down, it's like 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3, something like that. And it's a deep ball, I think, down the left side that got knocked out of the receiver's hands. But that all happened, like you said, in this middle. We always bring up the cliche middle 8 of the game there. This was like the middle 16 or 25 or whatever of like game time, where they scored that second touchdown. They go up 14-7, and you're like, all right, they shook that off. Like, they threw the opening pick, gave up 7, whatever. Bam, score. Bam, get the ball back, score again. And you're like, all right, we're running wherever we want to go. If we keep doing that, great. If we use that to run a little play action, whatever, something. And then it was like, they just, like, the defense, if you want to call it defense or specialty, whatever, you get it, and they're like, well, it would have been a lot worse. Arizona would have had 6 more points from field goals and all this stuff if their kicker didn't suck. No, that was pressure put on them to cause both of those. I mean, the one was flat blocked. Yeah. The first one, I'm not convinced didn't get at least a fingertip on it. If not, it caused the push. So that's more a credit, I think, to Cincinnati making that happen than it was Arizona just missing kicks, like not having a good enough kicker.
Right.
And it was clear throughout the rest of the game, even on their other field goal opportunities that they had, we were within, I think it was Wilson was in there almost every time, pretty close. So you've got that, but then you turn around, like you said, you go 3 and out for 6 yards and punt. You get another miss or block on a field goal. 8 plays, punt. Then you stop Arizona again and force a punt, and you go throw a pick. And then they drive down 11 plays, 58 yards, and get a field goal going into the half.
Right.
And then another field goal coming out of the half. So even inside of this giant area where UC did nothing on offense,
you're still winning the game.
You're still winning, and you're still winning after losing the middle 8.
But you felt, and at least I felt, that we know what this defense is, and while I thought they played a really good first half. I mean, the touchdown they gave up was a 26-yard run because of an interception. Other than that, they virtually gave up nothing. But you knew that against that offense, and as the game went on, they were getting into more of a rhythm. You knew that wasn't going to be what this defense was against that offense for the entirety of the game. So when you don't take advantage of what they're doing, and, I'll throw out the term, play complementary football, then you get what you get at the end. Like, the 99-yard touchdown drive was ridiculous. The missed tackling on the 50-yard touchdown run was awful. Everybody booing Christian Harrison's pass interference call. I don't know. We just don't watch the same sport. I mean, he grabbed the guy around the shoulder and spun him around. It was a clear as day penalty. Then he almost makes up for it on the very next play, and with a great play on the sideline. But like you just couldn't expect them to keep playing that sustained level for another 30 plus minutes and your offense does nothing. If that game is 21 or 24-10 at halftime because you scored another touchdown or a touchdown and a field goal versus 14-10, Arizona's calling a totally different game. You can play a totally different game. They just squandered an incredible amount of opportunities there in the second quarter because they can't figure out how to combat a man defense, which is astonishing to me because it's not a surprise. It happened last year. You upgraded your receiver talent. Your offensive line has played well. You're running the ball efficiently for the first 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so. That fell off a cliff. Tyree Walker finished after his hot start, had 10 carries for 26 yards in a close game. So it's not like, you're blowing them out and you're trying to kill the clock by running the ball. You should be able to still run the ball and be more varied, and you just weren't. It's a total collapse by an offense that had played really well for long stretches, and then just these last 2 weeks has been abysmal, and it's very concerning because you're going to see a lot of the same stuff next week.
Yeah.
And what are we going to – we're verging on the last year. Well, this team does this really good. We just kind of throw up our hands and we don't really have an answer.
Yeah, then you get back to this where we sit here on the weekend and we don't have an answer for what we just watched the day before. What are they? Because
I'm not in there every day to go, oh, this is what we're working on. This looks good. This isn't going to work. I don't know, but I know watching the game that it should not. When you have these guys, and Arizona has a really good defense, but I don't think it's nearly as good as Utah's. And you can't move the ball. You get a couple splash plays. You get some backside cutback runs, and then there's nowhere to run the ball offensively. I thought we could have done some more things on the perimeter. I thought Zion Johnson ran the ball well. I would have liked to seen him get some more options on the perimeter. Isaiah Johnson is healthy. He's in the game. We don't give him the ball at all on the plays that, as Keegan wrote, go read Keegan's article to wrap up yesterday's game. He wrote a great article about how Zach Grant says Isaiah Johnson's the most dynamic player that we have when the ball's in his hands. Well, he was in motion a lot yesterday. Nobody ever put the ball in his hands.
Yeah.
Maybe
that goes back though.
Maybe he's too banged up, but he's out there. So,
but that also goes back to how it seemingly gets to that weird area where plays seem predetermined out of the huddle, like it's a peewee football team where they're like, all right, here's the play, read it off, whatever, and then they look over and say, no, it's coming to you. Be ready.
I mean,
I know. I'm just saying.
I don't want to overspeak because we don't know, but it certainly felt like on both interceptions, that's where the ball was going. Especially the first one. Under no circumstances was that play open.
Yeah. And you clarified that well. It's not that we're saying that's exactly what's happening. It just feels that way when you're watching it to be like, how is that happening now? Right? Because it hasn't seemed that way all year. It has seemed like there has been the play call and then progressions. We have lauded his ability to go through his progressions and get to the guy that's open and do all of these things right. And it just seems like the last 2 games, at least, that hasn't been the case. It has been seems like he's very uncomfortable.
Yeah. I completely agree. And so why is that? And how do you fix that? How do you, in what, from week to week, I feel like it's very tough to necessarily fix something like that. You're either comfortable in, every football team, every quarterback and play caller, they talk about, okay, here's what we're thinking for this game. When it comes to an opening script, what do you like? What do you not like? Everybody has their favorite calls, their favorite plays, their favorite plays. When it's typically can be discussed as like a gotta have it play. What's our gotta have it play? It's 3rd and 5. We got to pick up the first down to pretty much end this game or to keep this play going, or this drive going. What's our gotta have it play? It feels like we're just, I don't know. There's no, at least against Mayan, it feels like there's no sequencing, and maybe we can't get into a good sequence because we're in these disadvantaged down and distances, so it's hard to sequence plays one off of each other. But it feels like there's no stacking. There's no setting up this to then do this. There's no, we're going to give them this look and see how they react to it, and then we're going to give them the same look and come back with a different action off of that, because now they see what we want to do here, and so they're going to line up to stop that, and we're going to combat that by doing something totally different. It seems very rudimentary. It seems very, we're going to still do a lot of the bubble stuff, but then none of the bubble stuff guys touch the ball. Yeah. We're not able to get the ball to guys 5, 6, 7 yards off the line and see if they can make a guy miss and turn into a bigger play. There's still this reluctance to, they did it a little bit at times, but there still is this reluctance to throw it over the middle, and a reluctance to me to just, everything yesterday felt down the field or at the line of scrimmage. So there was no middle ground.
I mean, the third downs that you mentioned, it did. I don't know. I mean, we were 3 for 12 on third down, and then we did pick up 3 fourth downs. So you put that up to like half, but a lot of those third downs felt exceptionally long.
Mm-hmm.
Like just not high percentage that you're going to get those anyway.
Well, obviously one was 3rd and 22. So I mean,
yeah, that's
kind of throw that one up. But
I just mean like the 3rd and 6, 7, 8, like.
I mean, 3rd and 6 they converted on the swing pass to Zion Johnson. 3rd and 6 incomplete. But yeah, it's, my frustration mainly lies in not being. I mean, the game is the game, and you can dissect the individual plays of the game, but to me, this game was so much more. Why could we not figure out anything to do against man with an extra week to prepare, and then just the offense squandering opportunities? And not being able to look at them and go, okay, here's what they're doing now, because they clearly made a difference. I don't know if it was, or made a change. To me, watching from the stands, felt like more 4-man up front with their backers a little bit closer. Basically, just saying, like, after that first 10 minutes,
like, we're not going to let you run the ball down our throat.
We're not going to get run all over down the field. We feel confident enough in our secondary. We're going to just line up and put 6, 7 guys within 3, 4 yards of the line of scrimmage, and we're going to let our guys in the back end cover. And they did.
And it worked.
And not being able to have an answer to that is I don't know. I don't know what the word is. Infuriating, mind-numbing,
befuddling,
unacceptable. Like, you can't just go into a shell and literally not be able to move the ball just because the other team is good at man coverage.
Like I opened it with, I just don't know. I mean, you have, like the special teams played well, I thought. Obviously, I mean, I credit those 2 missed field goals to them. Fletcher had, he had three punts.
He had one stinker and one really good one, but then they turned around and gave up a 99-yard touchdown. Yeah,
you have a punt that he hits. He probably didn't even hit it as well as he really wanted to. I mean, it was a line drive. It just skipped by the guy, and kind of checked up enough that it slowed the roll all the way down. And you pin them at the one. You're like, okay, here we go. Like this should be a situation where you're confident in like stopping this enough to get a punt and kind of flip the field. If not get a safety, I mean, you're inside the 1 yard line.
I
Like,
want to go back and review that. I would go. I mean, I don't say I want to. I don't want to. But to give up in that situation, I don't know what the exact alignment was, but to give up 6 and then 8 on consecutive runs when they're pinned on the 1 yard line and you know they're going to run the ball.
Yeah, like
just so infuriating.
It's not good, Dave. It's not good. And you know, like it's just missed opportunities is just kind of like the overwhelming feeling I get out of this just from that.
Yeah, because you can't say they should have won because
no.
On those drives we're talking about in the second quarter, it wasn't as if they moved the ball down the field and then shot themselves in the foot, missed a field goal, fumbled like they did against Utah.
They got flat dominated.
They just didn't move the ball at all. Yeah, Hunt was scraping down from his left end, or from his left side they were running it to their left side, and yeah, he missed a tackle. He was up high. That's a tough one to get scraping down. There should be someone else filling in there as well. He did a good job scraping down and even getting to the ball carrier, but then there's nobody on the second level, or where's the end on that side of the ball? I mean, the running back ran right by the end on that side. And I thought the D-line played pretty well in the first half. They were getting pressure. Michael Coleman made a real nice play behind the line of scrimmage on a run play. Like they did some nice things to give the offense chances. But, I said it earlier, you knew they weren't going to play like that against a quarterback who's came into this game, 23 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He wasn't going to give you the ball, and they weren't going to – they're not a big error team. So you were going to have to get stops, and they got stops in the first half and did nothing with it. And then when they couldn't get stops in the second half, that's when the offense couldn't catch up.
Pretty easy when you look at it that way, Dave.
Well, unfortunately.
I know we haven't really mentioned game on paper at all today. But
I mean, I looked at it. They had a poor success rate, a negative EPA per drop back, and a poor third down success rate. Yep. Everything else was okay to good.
I mean, their EPA on a rush was in the 89th percentile, 0.28. A lot of that's
bolstered by a couple really long runs.
The back of the beginning of the game there, 55th percentile, 5.45 yards per drop back. Average, 98th percentile on explosive play rate, also bolstered probably a little bit there at some of those early deals. Red zone success rate 50%. Defensive run stuff rate 4th percentile. Third down success rate really bad, 11th percentile. So there's your purples, and then the 37% success rate, just all pretty average when you look at it, and that kind of gave us what we had at the end of the game, which was a loss by 6 points.
Yeah, and I know, like, everybody's very frustrated with the coverage techniques of the defensive backs, and I really don't get it, because if you're not gonna bother to ever even turn around and even attempt to make a play on the ball, you're never going to get the benefit of the doubt on these PIs.
No.
Never. If you're never even going to bother to turn around, you're never going to get the benefit of the doubt.
You kind of saw it. There were a couple plays where Arizona DBs, I thought, there was one, I don't even know who our receiver was, but he had his arm pinned to his side, but he had his head kind of turned back. And No flag was thrown.
Mm-hmm.
The one on Royer in the end zone, I thought that was pretty close, and maybe you get the benefit of the doubt there. But I thought, whatever. I mean, it kind of sucks that you don't get that, and they do. But when our DBs are doing like what they've done all year, which is like run, head still downfield, wait for the receiver to look like he's making some sort of motion toward the ball, and then like flail their arms up through and try to like time the ball coming in. And it's obviously not been very good.
No.
But that my bigger issue than that is on these like third and short, fourth and short kind of like situations where you're playing like 7 and 8 yards of cushion.
Oh yeah.
I mean, jam a receiver for once. Like throw some of the timing off on those.
I mean, on third and fourth down, if they're willing to do like a double move and run by you, then just grab them. I don't care about the pass interference at that point, but don't give up 7 on 4th and 4 because you're
going to keep them in front of you.
Yeah, they're just, and that's the frustrating part of like turning around and watching our offense. And obviously, we're playing way different coverages, but
right,
our receivers can't run guys off and just stop and turn around. I mean, Caldwell had one on the far sideline, I think went for 12 yards. I remember that play specifically. But there's really not anything like that as far as, what we're trying to do to not have to just chuck the ball was what felt like the last 2 weeks. Just we're just going to YOLO passes out there.
Yeah, it's like a throw and hope, or like an Effie's down there somewhere, but there's nobody down there somewhere. Like it's.
Yeah, I mean, I have plenty of, the defense did what the defense has done against
all year,
good teams, and pretty much all year. But they gave you more than enough in the first half.
Yeah, I know it sounds like we're like beating a dead horse here, but those were the opportunities to put some space between.
The reason is because there's no disguising it. There's no, this is an offensive team. This team is going to win games because of offense.
And when the offense doesn't click and isn't moving the ball and is just looks like this is the first week that they've been together in camp, sometimes it seems like you're not going to win. Like you can't go that long. I don't know. There was some graphic or something that was mentioned about like them going forever between like completed passes or third down completions or something, but it was, I mean, it obviously goes from, you score that touchdown all the way back in the first quarter with how much time was left on the clock? 6:34 left on the clock. They scored a touchdown in the first quarter, and then don't score again until the field goal with, time running out in the third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just can't.
So essentially 36 minutes of a 60-minute game.
And they went punt, interception, end of half, so whatever, punt, and then a field goal.
Yeah,
meanwhile,
two in the third quarter.
Meanwhile, they had, from Arizona's touchdown that they scored at the beginning of the game, we had generated a punt from them. Then there's 2 missed field goals, then another punt, and then they got a field goal. And then they had essentially back-to-back field goals after that. But 22 plays, almost 10 minutes off the clock. And we've talked about that. If this defense is going to do that, keep teams on the field for these long drives where they end with either a field goal or turning the ball over, a punt or whatever, that is the recipe for success for this team. Defense, hold the other team's offense out there, and then quick strike on our end.
Yeah, it's never going to be this team was never going to be a time of possession team because the defense was never going to stop the other team, typically not stop the other team fast enough So the other team is going to have some longer sustained drives.
Yep.
And then when you stop them, when you hold them to red zone field goals,
your offense has to score.
Or missed field goals, your offense has to go convert that to touchdowns.
Yeah.
And they just didn't. So I understand frustration with the defense. And because it's a repetitive thing, it's a lot of people have the just ingrained that the 3-3-5 doesn't work. The 3-3-5 was fine in the first half. Totally fine.
3-3-5 was good.
It did exactly what it has done when it's been good all year. And then it wasn't as good in the second half because this defense isn't good enough to play 60 minutes of really good football against an offense like Arizona. So when they give you 30 minutes of good football, your supposedly great offense with your offensive-minded head coach and play-calling head coach have to take advantage of that. And they didn't, and that's why they lost.
Mm-hmm. So they better get it figured out going into the next 2 weeks. And I know that it was like one of those things we said like after the Utah game was like, you got a week off, a week in between here, figure it out. That didn't happen. So now you've got a week to get this figured out. And it's like I said earlier, finishing the season 9-3 would be incredible. Being 7-5,
I just want to see what
leaves that gross taste in your mouth.
I just want to see where the fight is and what the mentality is for this week. Because BYU is very similar to Utah in that they are a physical football team. And LJ Martin is a 6'2", 220-pound running back. And they've got a lot of fun, quick toys to play with on the outside, and Bear Bachmeier is a really good runner. What is the mentality of this team if they have similar issues? Are they going to pack it in? And this is going to turn into what we saw last night with BYU and TCU. Or do they have some fight in them and can fix some things and play better at home on senior day, night, whatever, and figure out a way to get a win and keep this thing from truly going off the rails to end the season? So, there'll be a lot to discuss this week, and we'll see what kind of attitude is brought on Saturday against a really good team.
Yep. I agree.
Well, where would you like to start around the nation?
I'm going to start in a place that's probably pretty odd, but only because of one specific drive in the game.
Okay.
Air Force Yukon.
Oh, we are. This is a sickos play right here.
This
Air Force Yukon leads off the look.
Air Force Yukon. So Air Force, whatever, Yukon ended up winning the game, but Air Force had a drive in the second quarter that was 19 plays. They went 90 yards in 11 minutes and 50 seconds and turned the ball over on downs.
Yes, it didn't score.
No points. So,
oh my god!
Somebody tweeted it out and
UCF wishes their offense could do that.
I was like, there's no. I mean, that is insanity. Especially because, it makes sense, I guess, because Air Force, I think their quarterback was 2 for 3 for 34 yards on the game.
Solid.
So obviously everything is going to be rushes. So you're gonna get the time drain and probably a lot of plays or whatever. But to go 90 yards and end up with it, so that means kick a field goal. You can get away. They were only I think it was 7-6 at the time. You extend the lead there. But no, that far and then you turn it over on downs. So that was awesome. kind of my fun way to start this week, since the other part wasn't.
I have a similarly crazy stat. Oklahoma goes in to Bama, upsets Bama. I think I read something. It was the first time or very few times in the last who knows how many years where a team went on the road against a top 5 team and won with having less than 250 yards of total offense. I think none of Oklahoma's scoring drives were longer than like 30 yards because of the turnover. Like there were Alabama had a bunch of turnovers, muffed a punt. They had a 20-yard touchdown that started at the Alabama 20. Or no, wait, no, that one was because it was a muffed punt. But yeah, I mean they did nothing on offense and won that game, keeping their playoff hopes alive, and actually looks pretty good now because Missouri and LSU are not anywhere near what they were when the schedule came out. But, the two big games I thought nationally were that game and then Texas, Georgia. And Georgia's playing at seems to be starting to play at their Georgia level. Just beat the brakes off of them. I mean, that thing was close for a minute or two, felt like, and then it was total domination.
Well, the random onside kick to double up possessions for Georgia to really just like put the
twist the knife,
do that, put the final nail in the coffin is really what that did. But to the Alabama OU game, like you're speaking of, like if you scroll through the play-by-play, if you're just looking at like at the not the score ticking up for Oklahoma, like they shouldn't have won the game at all.
No,
23 they had a drive for 23 yards and a field goal and one for 31 yards and a touchdown, and other than that they were fumbling the ball, punting,
they had
punting and fumbling.
Interception return for a touchdown, and then a 20-yard drive because Ryan Williams muffed a punt that they scored a touchdown on.
Yeah, that's wow.
Texas A&M, we got to talk about that. Largest comeback in SEC history, I believe I saw.
Yes,
down 30-10. Marcel Reed playing as if he had never played football before. Obviously, this was going on at the same time as the Bearcats game, so I was getting updates from some buddies and seeing on Twitter that the first half it was 3 turnovers, penalty. I mean, just a total disaster. And then
30-3 at the half.
The end of the game, Lenora Sellers. I mean, what are you doing? That guy was supposed to be the number 1 pick in the draft coming into this season. I felt that was hilarious at the time, and even more hilarious now. But yeah, 30-3, 31-30 final. Unbelievable stuff.
They can't even get down enough to like. Let's see.
Nick Harbor though for South Carolina. Did you see his touchdown?
No.
Do you know who he is? Just a 6'5", 240-pound wide receiver.
Okay.
That had an 80-yard touchdown where he just ran away from everybody on Texas A&M's defense.
I did see that because I think somebody said he's the fastest man alive.
Dude, it's insane. Like I would love to be on the field to see, like, just to be up close to watch him play, to be that big.
I'm watching it right now.
And just run away from dudes.
Well, like my nerdy sprinter or track and field. I mean, that's like like Usain Bolt being that tall and being that fast is like. I mean, obviously he wasn't like that. Like much mass, but
unreal.
That's crazy.
Who else? What else we got? USC with a big win, I thought, against Iowa. It was at home in a monsoon. It rained hard all day in California. One of the 10 times a year it does that. But for them to get that win, now they got Oregon in kind of a huge game. I feel like Oregon does have a game to play with, I think, for the playoff. But if whoever wins that, if USC loses, they're out. But if they win, it could certainly get interesting as far as, does the Big Ten get 5? Because Michigan is still alive after I don't know even what you want to call that against Western. But they're still alive technically, but if they still have to play Ohio State. So that's all contingent on them beating Ohio State. If they were to lose to Ohio State, they would not make the playoff. But
Right, because that would give them a third overall loss and
Yeah.
6-2 or 2 losses in conference. Whereas the USC has like they're they can't afford another loss because that would also give them 3 losses.
Right.
But Oregon, so what we is that next week? Yeah, USC Oregon is next week. So, and then they have UCLA after that. This sneaky UCLA team.
Are they still sneaky?
No, they're not at all. But they're at least still out there putting up a fight.
East Carolina gets the win against Memphis, which sets up. When we talk about it every week on the Cincy Light 6-pack, that there's some AAC game every week worth watching, and now you have a 4-way tie of Navy, North Texas, Tulane, and East Carolina for first place in the AAC, which puts them in, I think, not a great spot because I think if James Madison goes undefeated, or not undefeated, but wins out, I think they will get the group of 5 bid because their only loss would be to Louisville in the first or second game of the year.
Yeah, but where are they at in the? Don't they have to be like the highest ranked?
No, you don't. It's not. It's
For
not
the group
that
of 5. It's not the highest ranked group of 5. It's not the.
Well, yeah, they would if they went. I feel like if they won out, they would probably be the highest ranked.
Oh, okay.
But
I guess it's just the. Yeah, I mean it doesn't matter. The SEC is going to have 15 teams in there anyway.
It doesn't matter.
And then the ACC is still stupid. Like you have 4 teams with 1 loss there, and then probably one of the better. You give Miami with 2 losses.
I don't know what to make of Duke lost to Virginia, so I think they're officially
that's what I was looking
the
at
idea
there,
of them making
causing a disruption.
Yeah, I think that's done. Let me see here. So now you have.
And Louisville's lost the last 2 weeks, right?
Yeah. You're down to some combination of Georgia Tech, Virginia, Pitt, SMU. All have 1 loss.
And Louisville had a really good chance to
Pitt's loss yesterday doesn't matter because it was to Notre Dame.
Yeah, but Louisville had I didn't realize this. I wasn't paying attention to them, but like as far as like this, but I mean they lost last week by 3 points and this week by 1 point to Cal and Clemson.
Yeah.
When you had a 1-loss season to Virginia going where you could have caused some like serious issues, and then you just like hand it all back by losing back-to-back.
That game Friday night, neither team wanted to win. I was watching that. Clemson and Louisville, neither one of them wanted to win at all.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
It was some pretty bad football in the fourth quarter. Missed kicks, fumbles, all sorts of, entertaining for me.
Yeah. Indiana rolling along against Wisconsin, 31-7. Mendoza went 22-24 for 299 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, they pretty much probably just said like we don't need to run the ball
Hemby was 14 carries for 58 yards.
I do want to point out the what I felt was a market inefficiency turned out to be one. Hopefully, if anyone is in our little, I apologize for not getting my picks in to our weekly thread, but the spreads on the Baylor, Utah, and BYU TCU game made absolutely no sense to me, and were proven to be absolutely. I was proven to be absolutely correct because how BYU was only favored by 3.5 and Utah only favored by 8.5. I don't know.
Somebody messed those up.
Anything else? Anything else from around college football that we've missed?
I know you
Georgia,
talked like
Georgia
that.
Tech needing a field goal at the buzzer to beat a 1-9 Boston College team.
There's just been some weird stuff going on, but like that is the Michigan Northwestern game.
Oh yeah,
Zavada is an All American last year, and he's missed like
he missed 6 kicks this
six,
year.
and like 2 of them were in the game against Northwestern.
One was 60 yards. So
Oh, was it? I didn't.
yeah.
I didn't. I
But
just.
no, another,
I flipped it on at the end when he was about to kick the.
the game
Were they
winner,
playing
yeah.
it? Were they at
Wrigley
Wrigley?
Field. Yes.
God, that looked awful. Like the goalposts looked like they were like half the width of like. I mean, it was, and I don't know why. It appeared that they were like, and it might be because they were like really close to like the way the bleachers were like right up against the back of it. It just made it look like it was a very narrow target.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously they were the right width, but it just made it look very difficult, at least on the broadcast. But they sneak away with that win, and obviously they've got Jordan Marshall was 19 carries for 142 yards and 2 touchdowns.
He's good.
Yeah, he's going to need to be great if they have a chance to beat Ohio State.
Yeah.
Maybe better than great.
Yeah, James Madison was 24th.
Okay.
And 9-1, 158-10 against App State.
Yeah. And Coach Dan makes a good point here. The CFP is going to be 9 to 10 Big 10 SEC schools, 3 ACC, and then the Big 12 Notre Dame. I mean, that's what, like, people can, when the CFP was like created and like, oh, it gives everybody, a lot of people, no, it gives them a chance to put more Big 10 and SEC schools out there, and like, all right.
Well, I think it gives you for the especially for like the Big 12 and the ACC, one loss doesn't destroy your season.
Yeah.
And it keeps much more interest on the collective.
Well, I mean, we talk about it every week, how like crazy some of this stuff looks.
If it's a 4-team playoff, right away that X number of teams have no shot.
Yeah.
Certain number of teams have a shot but need to do a ton. And then, you're really down to very few teams that really have a true shot. Now, we're well into November and you're still talking about,
20,
30 teams that have the chance to win their conference, make the playoff.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. It was never going to be equitable with the Big Ten and the SEC, but I also don't like the Big Ten's idea of, or anybody's idea of, a whole bunch of automatic bids. Whether it helps my team's conference or not, I still would rather just see the best teams play each other.
Yeah.
I don't need to see automatic bids for the 4th or 5th place team in some league. If they make it, then fine. But it doesn't need to be automatic.
And I think it just, it does give that little cushion to teams where like that one loss doesn't like, torpedo your season. And, it does solve some of the problem of like keeping, at least for the games that like kind of matter there at the end of the year, of like kids like sitting out. Like, I think, like this is a small school that I just saw this out of, but like whatever, mid-major kind of type basketball school. But Miami, their quarterback has decided he's wrapped up his season now.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal was. I saw that Taquan Finn just decided. I don't know if he decided, if they decided for him. I don't know.
Yeah, he's gonna like go prepare for the draft or something. Like, it does kind of keep, I guess, some of that from happening towards the end of the season of when teams would be totally out of it because they don't have a chance to move into that top 4. Now you've got a lot more like full teams playing complete games at the end of the year. And then you roll into the playoff and see where the chips fall.
That's right. Bearcats in the NFL. What do we got?
I did a horrible job of
looking at on. Do we not? I do need to shout out because this game got totally overlooked at the end of the night because it was a blowout. But Missouri running back Ahmad Hardy, 25 carries, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. Most single game rushing yards in FBS this season and number 2 in Missouri history. So
That's gotta
excellent
be.
individual performance from Ahmad Hardy.
Did you? And they lost?
No,
What?
they crushed.
I was gonna say like that's got to be some kind of record for like most in a loss.
No, they won. They won.
Miami and Washington are playing right now in the NFL.
Oh man, I can't believe we're missing that.
That's got to be. It's 3-0. It's
great.
Excellent game there. And then obviously, the Bengals and Pittsburgh are playing at 1. Are the Colts off this week? I think they are.
I believe so.
Because they were in Berlin last week.
Yeah.
The Sauce and Pierce reunion.
Mm-hmm. Do you think they bonded, got caught up over some schnitzels?
I think probably they got out there on the field and went against each other, just get some extra reps in.
Get the old higher ground juices flowing.
So, I don't know.
I think that's about it. Everyone is a little depressed this morning.
All right.
Unfortunate outcome, but chance to get things back on track next week. Thank you to everyone that joins as always. We really appreciate it. Like, subscribe, tell a friend. Only a few more episodes left in the season. We will have a bowl episode, which everyone knows how much I love bowl games. So
yeah,
can't wait to dissect the opponent in that thing. But got a couple more episodes and then a break until whenever this bowl game is played. So thank you again, everyone that joins us. Thanks to Aaron for producing, Jeff for co-hosting, Cincy Light, Royal Links Golf Tours. Everybody have a great Sunday morning, and we'll see you again next week.